Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and if you're a new subscriber, you might be wondering what on earth this video is about. To give you a bit of background, we've actually done 4 or 5 videos on these DVR, Dashcam, Rearview mirror screen thingies, and bizarrely at the end of every month they are the most viewed videos on our channel. So when somebody emailed us a couple of weeks ago and said, do you want to try the latest and greatest? I thought, hell yeah, I actually would like to do another video on it, even though it's not turbo BMW stuff. And to give you a bit of background, the reason that we did the first video, I actually installed a very similar mirror into my Megane. The Meganes are terrible for their rear visibility. It may as well be a Lamborghini. And when I'm trying to reverse park in a car park, it was just real shit. You have to like literally put your head out the window. Also, I'm a big fan of rear view cameras in cars. And the Megane didn't have one. Normally you just plumb it into the screen that's in the car. However, the Megane, being a bit more of a boy racer car, had no screen input. That's when I started looking at these mirror camera things. Then I realized you can get them standard in like a Cadillac, the new Corvette, and I really latched onto the idea. Long story short, we've actually got 4 or 5 of them. I installed one into the work van in January. Again, the work van being quite a big vehicle, a bit of a pain to reverse park, and it makes it a lot easier. However, it was also a good bonus having the DVR capability. Now, the one that we installed into the work van was by Pormido. It was the most expensive one I've ever bought, and it was, well, the reason I liked it, had a 12-inch screen. And being a commercial vehicle, the mirror is actually quite far away from you, so it just made it a little bit easier to use and see. The 12-inch screen is also quite helpful for playing back files, that sort of thing. Anyway, we've had the Pormido in the car, in the van, since January. It's been pretty good, no issues with it at all. Just plods along, does what it needs to do. It's good for viewing back clips, that sort of thing. And it was Pormido that emailed me a couple of weeks ago and said, we've actually got a new one that's been developed. We've been listening to our customers, which is strange for a Chinese company. That they're actually doing development and upgrades, not just copying. But they've been listening to the customer feedback, and a couple of people had issues with the front camera. Now, because the camera on all the ones we've got, the camera is actually built into the mirror itself. This may beep if I pick it up. No, okay, it's finally gone to sleep. So you only get that much movement on the front. And there it is, it's just woken up, it thinks it's having a crash. But yeah, but long story short, on a right-hand drive vehicle, this works absolutely fine. And because this is actually a screen, you don't use it as a mirror, you can sort of position it on the windscreen wherever's need be to get the camera to work. So we've never had issues with them, but I can see some people may have had issues, especially if you use it as a mirror, not a screen. So what they've done, they've separated the front camera. So that is a bit of a bonus, although it's probably not going to help us very much. But the big thing that I'm excited about with the new version, they've actually upgraded the sensors in the cameras. Now, Pormido have always used Sony sensors, which you might think is a given if you're into like blackvues and higher quality cameras, but a lot of the Chinese cameras use cheaper, older technology. Even though they're 1080p, the actual quality and the resolution and the colors that the sensors can pick up is quite limited. Now, I didn't really have any issues with the Pormido, but they've improved it on the new ones. They've actually gone to a Sony IMX355 sensor. Now, the big benefit with the new sensor is going to be that it will improve its dynamic range. And if you're into cameras, the dynamic range, like this is a GoPro Hero 8, it's a very good small camera, and its dynamic range is quite good. But again, with those cheaper lenses, you'll get an issue where it tries to focus on the lighted area, so like outside those windows, and then I would be very dark. Which is a big problem with these things because the rear camera is actually pointing into headlights at night time. So if you've ever had a cheap DVR at night time, all you can really see are car lights. You can't see any of the detail on what's around the car, what's going on, the road surface, that sort of thing. So that should be improved on that, and I'm looking forward to trying that a bit later tonight. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to get it in the van. I'm going to get it installed. It's probably going to take me best part of an hour to get it plumbed in, but I'll get it installed and you'll see me again once we go and give it a bit of a test drive. So guys, she's all installed. We have the camera up there. That's how we've always put the reverse cameras on the van. It's just to give it a bit more of a bird's eye view on what's going on behind. Sometimes I think they might work a little bit better when you've got these dual purpose setups being a bit lower. And we have the front camera just there. It's just sort of all tucked out of sight, so you can't really see it from here. Now, the mirror is currently in reverse mode. I'll just put it back into normal. I've been playing with all the screens. So that'll be our normal vision. And then reverse will look down. Normal. Reverse. Okay, cool. So as you can see there, when you put it in reverse, it actually looks, well, it moves the rear camera's perspective right down to the ground. And I'll just show you what we're looking at from the front. Bam. And that's the front one. And I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but when you're actually inside the camera menus, you can scroll up and down to see the full picture. Now, obviously, because this is a very letterbox-sized display, and they don't warp the image, so you can't actually see everything, but the camera is actually recording a much bigger picture, and that's what you get when you check the SD card. Now I'm just going to stop the recording. I've put the SD card in, it started recording straight away. We'll just run through the menus quickly so you guys can see what basic options you've got to play with. So first off, we have the resolution settings. You can either record in 1080p or 720. I'll just leave it in 1080. I'm going on this one. I think I had the other one set to 720. I set the loop recording to 1 minute, so they're the files that the DVR creates. They're 1 minute long, and that's normally long enough to catch anything exciting that you want to catch. Sound recording, I leave the sound recorder on. It's just so you can hear what the people in the vehicle are actually doing. It might help in insurance purposes, or if you want to read out a number plate as the car drives by, it will record that. Now, auto recording, it will actually automatically record upon an event. I'll leave it on. I haven't actually needed to use an event in the van since we've had it with the Pormido. We haven't had any accidents or anything we've needed footage for. So I haven't really played with it much, but yeah, we got that one there. Beep is just basically touchscreen beep, so you can hear if it's on. Image mirroring, now you use that if you've had to mount any of the cameras upside down. I've got them both the right way up, so don't need to change it from there. Oh, wait, they just leave them on the mirrored setting. Clock settings are to set the time, which I set when I unboxed this about 3 or 4 days ago, and it obviously hasn't been plugged in, but it saved it, so the internal battery is working as it should. Date and time is hidden. Now that will hide the date and time from the recordings. Oh, I've clicked away. What else have we got? Language, obviously I'll leave it set in English. LCD power saver. Now if you turn that on, it will turn the screen off sooner, pretty much. I actually run it so the screen is always on. G-sensor sensitivity. Now you might have heard it in the intro to this video. When I touched the other camera, it would start recording. So basically if it senses an impact, it will turn the camera on and start recording if you're in parking monitoring, or it will automatically create an event in the normal recording loop, and it puts the files in a separate folder, which is nice and handy. I'm going to put parking monitoring on to high volume. Oh, I'm going to max it out because it is a nice big vehicle. Now you can actually hear the audio on the tracks when you're playing back. We have time format, I'll leave it in 24 hour. The reversing lines are on. A new feature for this mirror is being able to calibrate the reversing lines. Now what I did, I actually just went and put 2 objects on the ground so I could set my sort of max reverse points and line these lines up so they sort of match the shape of the vehicle. So I can use those if I'm going into a parking bay. And something this does sort of outline is how wide angle that rear camera is, which helps reduce blind spots, strangely enough. Reversing line, reset to setups just to reset all your settings, format the SD card, don't need to do that, and then we see the current firmware version. So that is all the menus there. Now it goes back automatically to the just the DVR, and it should always go back to the rear option. I'll just turn it off, I'll let it power down, so we'll give it 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see the startup time. So I've just turned it on. G-boots. And there, then you've got your rear camera. Now, some people might not even really think about it, but when you've got a commercial vehicle like this and we fill this up with tires, you actually completely lose... Sorry, lovely radio. You actually lose rear vision through the center mirror here. So having that camera actually always gives us vision straight out the back, regardless of what's in the back of the van. All right, so I think it's time to take it for a road test. Now this new model is also supposed to have improved anti-glare features somehow on the screen. We had to use a anti-glare strip on the last one because you get a lot of light in the back of the van. So let's take it for a drive, see what it looks like without using the anti-glare strip. Okay guys, so hopefully the GoPro picks it up all right, but we're not getting any glare as we go in and out of the sort of shaded and then light areas. And it also appears, we'll have to check it back on the footage that gets recorded, but it appears to be working out the shaded and light areas in and out of the trees really well with the dynamic range. So it looks like those upgraded Sony sensors do actually make a bit of a difference. I guess the real test is going to be nighttime, but yeah, being able to see the screen during the day, even with all the windows in the van, is actually absolutely fine. I'll try and I'll do a bit more driving, and we'll try and get somewhere that's got no tree shade. So we're coming out into the open just now, and let's just see if we get much glare on that screen or how it affects being able to see it. The GoPro is compensating a fair bit, but to my eye, I can see that screen really, really well. And hopefully you can see that car. It's probably getting annoyed because I'm going a bit more steady than I should be, even though I'm doing the speed limit. Yeah, you can see the screen perfectly. They have definitely done something with the glare on the screen. That's awesome. I'm trying to also show you from my field of view as well, so you see any reflections that the driver might see. One thing that may, I don't know, I don't really use them as a mirror ever. I always just run the screen. But I wonder if they put something different in the glass which might make the mirror part of it not as good. I'll check it when we get back. But yeah, we're coming into some shade again. Yeah, it's a bit easy to see in the shade on the GoPro, but pretty equal to the human eye. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you another circumstance. I've actually got the sun coming at the vehicle from the back, and I know with some of the cheaper cameras you'll actually get bad sun flares or sun flares in the actual lens, which you can just sort of see it's doing there, but she's still very, very usable. And that's with the sun pointing straight at the back of the van, which is going straight into the camera. Again, very usable for a rear view camera. I like it. It is definitely better than the 996. So I just thought I'd show you another scene. We've got a hell of a lot of sunlight coming into the cabin, which is normally what causes the glare, obviously, as the seats are all getting lit up. But yeah, the screen is nearly completely reflection proof. They have definitely changed something here. The high dynamic range also seems to be working quite well. It can sort of work through shadows and then bright spots in the image. This is definitely the closest one I've seen to the OEM mirrors. I like it. Okay, so we just got back and I just thought I'd show you how easy it is to review the footage that you've just captured on a drive. So basically you just have to stop the recording, which you just see me do, and then click the playback function, and then it brings you to this menu here, which has all the 1-minute files it's just created from the drive. And you can see the little icon here. We've got the rear vision camera. If I push that one, we see the front. So these are all the front files. And we'll just start that one playing. And it's that easy, and you can view it full screen like that if you do want to see the entire picture, just in case it's cut out. But we'll just go back and I'll switch it to some rear footage. Put that one there, and it plays straight away. So it's quite easy to review footage, and if you want to make it a bit easier to find, so you can actually lock that and it will put it in a different file from memory on the SD card. So just here as well, you can see these are all the locked files. So I did actually lock a few files while we were out there. Oh no, that's what we want. So we've got the 3 files that were locked. Now I locked it just as we started going. That was when I was doing the install. And that was just up the road. I pulled over and locked a file. I took an image, and I will see what they look like on the computer when we get inside a bit later. But what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to wait for it to get dark, because I do want to test both of these cameras in nighttime, mainly because that's when this high dynamic range thing is supposed to really excel with the headlights. So you'll see me in a few hours once it gets dark outside. So as you can probably work out, it is now nighttime. Let me turn the camera on and we'll just see what sort of light levels we get without turning the headlights on and looking straight out the back of the van. So she's just booted up. and so that's what you can see out the back of the van. You can't really see the container with the human eye, but the camera is picking up the container. You can see the light that's on over there. That's actually pretty impressive, and we'll just switch it to the front camera. Oh, so that's what I can see out the front of the car, and that is what the camera picks up. That's mega, and I'm gonna get that off the dashboard. So yeah, that's pretty impressive when you haven't got white things on the dash. Yeah, you can definitely see more with the camera than you can in real life, but we'll turn the headlights on. Yeah, okay. The sensitivity on those lenses is very impressive. So I'm gonna take it for a drive. I'm gonna take it where there's some cars, because that's what we need to test. We need to see what the headlights do to these cameras. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes when we get into town. So we don't have any street lights here. This is what I can see out the front of the car, and I'm super impressed. Obviously, there's street lights on the road that's about 50 meters over to the right, and it's amazing what the camera is picking up on the dash cam. I just thought I'd show you that quickly, although it'd probably be better displayed as test footage at the end. But yeah, that looks mega. Okay, so we've got some traffic coming up behind us. And I just thought I'd show you guys, although the GoPro is sort of overexposing this, I might have to get the footage off the camera to have a better example of what I can actually see. But yeah, the headlights are not blowing out. You can actually see the ground right up to the front of the car. It's pretty damn impressive. All right, I want to get it into town a bit more because we're in pretty darkness here. It's not there's not much light outside the vehicle. Let's get into town and we'll see how it performs with more lights around. So that is a car pulling up behind me, and I can see the entire front of his car even though his headlights are on. That is mega. You can read his number plate. And it just goes to show, like, you can see so much more with these rear cameras than you can if you had just a mirror, which a lot of it would be darkness and all you would see is headlights. That is pretty impressive. All right, so that's the driver's point of view at night time. I'm gonna head back home, get this footage off, and we'll actually check it and see how good or bad the recordings are. But using it as a rear view mirror, very, very impressive. Well, I hope you can see me all right, but we are now back at home, and I've just gone over the footage, and I'm genuinely impressed with the quality of what you can actually see at night time. There's no denying the fact that getting good footage during the day isn't uncommon with modern cameras, even the cheaper ones, but to be able to see what we can see at night time through this relatively cheap setup from Pormido is actually genuinely impressive. The only thing I've seen that's sort of comparable is footage from like a blackvue dashcam, and they are, well, they're like twice the price and they don't have the screen built in. So Pormido have definitely, I think they've made the right decision to put more effort into producing a better image quality and just being able to see more in general. Now, using this device as a rear view mirror, it works amazingly. Like I said at the start of the video, I didn't really have any issues with the Pormido 996, the previous generation that was in the van, but it is definitely better with the 998. The fact I can use that in daylight, which is what you saw earlier, yeah, without needing the reflective strip on the screen, the reflections are significantly better. Now, I'm not sure how they've done it. I think they're doing it with just having a brighter screen. However, on the flip side, that screen at night time was perfect brightness, so I'm not sure if it's auto adjusting or what. Yeah, and genuinely impressed with how much you can see at night time. I cannot believe you could read the number plate on the car behind us in the dark. That's pretty mega, especially from that rear camera. And don't forget with the van as well, the camera is about 2.5 meters up in the air, so it was quite a long distance down to that number plate, and it was still quite legible even in the dark. Look, this was a pre-release version. I wanted to thank Pormido for sending it out to us. Pretty stoked to have it in the van. Nice little upgrade. If you've got any questions about it, if you're thinking about buying it on Amazon or anything like that, hit us up in the comments below and I will go and check it, check features, check anything you guys want to see. Definitely here to help. More people need to get these mirrors. We've got mirrors from Johnson, Acumen, Pormido. Pormido, they are the dearest of the lot, but they seem to put a lot of effort into developing a good product and not just copying something else. It's good to see. Pormido were the first guys to do the 12-inch display, and they're the first guys to separate the camera on that the front camera as well, which is a nice little feature, although it's not something that we're going to make use of. Anyway, this video is quite a long one. I'm going to end off my section right here, but I'm going to add some of those raw clips in from the footage from that drive that we've just been on. Just keep in mind, I do have to re-render the clips to get them into Final Cut Pro, and then of course Final Cut Pro will re-render them again. The actual raw images as I view them on the MacBook, sorry, the raw video as I view them on the MacBook, it's going to be better than what you guys are going to see on YouTube. But yeah, look, very happy with it. These are a budget DVR, but they really perform like the $1,000 plus ones. Yeah, very impressed. All right, guys, another 0 to 60 review, although it's about midnight here. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, you guys are legends, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.